What's good, y'all? I had a good friend of mine request that I make this dress from Laura Gal for her birthday for a photo shoot. So, of course, I had to show out for my girl and find this beautiful sequin fabric. But before I dove into it, I went ahead and did a sample cut just so I can make sure I know what I'm doing because I've never done a corset before. So, as I go through this process, you're going to be going through it with me for the very first time. So, let's just dive right on into it. I went ahead and got my pieces cut, and I made them a little bit bigger than what I normally would just so I could shrink it down later. I went ahead and put all of the bodice pieces together. Once we got the bodice together, we're going to go ahead and use boning. This is my first time using boning. And I actually love how it turned out, so I'm going to start using this like on every prom dress that I do. So the first thing I did was cut pieces of the boning to make sure that they fit into the bodice. Once I cut the pieces themselves, I would scrunch down the outside and cut the plastic a little bit more so I have about an inch, so a half an inch on each side. We're actually going to stitch another seam behind the seam that we already did so that we can slide our boning inside that hole. You want to make sure that that seam is about an inch away from the actual edge so the boning will fit in there nice and snug, but it won't be too tight. So I've got my first seam done for the middle, and I'm going to repeat that same process for the other two sides. Now what I did was probably wrong, but I went ahead and stitched the seam of the boning closed on each end so the plastic wouldn't slide out. And I'm going to take a safety pin and cinch this all the way through the middle of the seam that we just created. But first, we want to make sure that the boning is straight, so we got to iron these down. Now we've got some straight boning. Now I went ahead and inserted all of my boning pieces for the front, and it gave it a nice look. It made it so clean and so pretty. I love it. I don't think I'll ever not use boning. Now the next step is to put on the cups for your corset. You're going to go ahead and stitch those down. And the same thing that we did with the seams on the front of the bodice, we're going to do the same exact thing with the cups. You're going to create an opening so you have a place to slide the boning in and hold it in place. Then you're going to move on to adding the rest of the bodice, the pieces for the back of the bodice. And like I said, I made these pieces a little bit bigger than what they normally would be so then I could size them down later. And it came in handy when it came to working with the boning. Otherwise, I think I would have ran out of fabric. So now we've got our cups in place, and we're going to get ready to cut the bottom of our skirt. Then I forgot to record the skirt part, so I had already attached the bodice and the skirt together for this look. Then you move on to the straps. At this point of the video, I got to a point where I couldn't really move forward unless I did the fitting for my client. So I just put it on the mannequin and pinned the straps to the dress to see what it would look like, and this is what it looks like so far. What do you guys think? Looking good so far? I think so. So now I've done the fitting with the client, and the cups are a little bit too small for my liking, and I want her to have a better support. So I went ahead and took out the cups that I had in there before and replaced them with cups that are a little bit bigger. So this is what I'm doing on this point in the video, is removing the cups. And then I went ahead and fixed it, replaced it, put the boning back in, and we're good to go now. Now at this point I can't really move forward until I do the lining stuff. So I want her to have some shorts, some bottoms to go underneath because the dress is see-through. And then I want her cups to have lining in there so her nipples aren't seen in the pictures. But as we all know, as a black woman, they don't really cater to brown skin as far as linings and other stuff in fabric just yet. So I had to dye the fabric. And I'm telling you, I dyed this fabric like 3 times trying to get it just a tad bit darker, and that shit would not take, and it made me mad. So this is about the darkness that it came up with. On the camera view, it looks a lot lighter, but in person, it's a little bit darker, kind of close to my skin tone, but this is what it originally started out as, so I got it a little darker, but I wasn't going to worry about it too much. Gonna go ahead and put it in there and stitch it down. I had already done one side, so I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. Got the lining for the cups in place, and then we're going to start putting in the straps. So I opened up a little space at the top of the cup so I can place the straps inside and then stitch it down. And we've got straps, and it's looking good. I'm going to cover up these little holes. I also went ahead and threw in the zipper, get that knocked out. And this is my final product. And I honestly cannot wait to see Morgan fuck up this photo shoot. Like, every photo shoot she does, she fucks it up. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video and love my dress. Thanks for joining me. Peace.